All right, we are back. Dynasty Trades in 5. I'm Clay.
I'm Shane, ready to badger this question to death.
I am SC. We're ready to talk about another guy that goes by his initials. A running back. We hate running backs.
Sir. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. So we do a few different types of shows here. We do individual player shows. We do strictly Dynasty trade shows where we do rapid fire-ish trades. Then also some strategy type shows. So tonight we're going to do a single player show. And we're doing one Jonathan Taylor. If you look at the title of this episode, you could have figured that out. So we also talk in like a 12-team super flex start 10 PPR format generally, unless otherwise specified. But let's start with you, Mr. Shane. Badger us.
Jonathan Taylor. So John Taylor is one of the interesting running backs, right? Like, because I am all on team, sell them immediately for everything you can get. But Jonathan Taylor is interesting because any offer you get for him, you're not going to want unless someone just gives you – you think someone's going to give you Jamar Jefferson in a first? Because that's basically what it's going to take to get John Taylor off of me.
Jamar Jefferson? Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll
Justin.
I'll even give you Quintus Cephas.
Throwing Quintus Cephas. I mean, unless I'm just combining them. If you're giving me Jamar Chase in a first, Justin Jefferson in a first, sure, you can have Taylor. But that's literally what it's going to take to get Taylor off of me. I can't see. He's one of the few players we like to talk about who's worth at least 3 first round rookie picks. John Taylor's on that very short list. With those aforementioned wide receivers. I mean, he's Saquon Barkley 2 years ago, except that he's better. He's not Saquon Barkley because, dude, he's at least a haul for Saquon. I tell you right now, you send me an offer, it's going to get laughed at if it's not over the top. And I'm telling you right now, any offer you send to someone for John Taylor, if they have any acumen at this game, you're going to have to overwhelm them to pull John Taylor off of them. Scott disagrees with me a lot. I want to hear what Scott says.
Well, listen, Jonathan Taylor is a freak. He's one of the best running back prospects we've seen. He was a great pick when you took him in your rookie draft. But now he is basically the most valuable non-quarterback in Dynasty. And the thing is, we saw a really good season from Jonathan Taylor last year, right? You know, he finished as the RB1. You know, points per game, he was the RB2 behind Derrick Henry, who only played 7 games. So you can't really, count that as a full season. We don't know how that would have played out. Jonathan Taylor last year, what did he have? 372 touches. So if you adjust that down to 16 games instead of 17 games, and actually, I don't know if we can necessarily start talking that way because we're forecasting for 17 games going forward. And I think at running back, it does matter if you put up every touch is worth something at running back because I think it's a skill to be able to avoid injury. Is it luck sometimes? Yeah. But I think we can cite total touches with running backs with more confidence than we can with other positions. But the bottom line is he only scored 22 points per game. Like it's good, but that is not like breaking fantasy value range. And he's being valued as like the only insulated running back really in Dynasty that people are willing to give up, like Shane said, 3 firsts. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong. He's probably the top guy by default, but I think you can get a lot more creative with the Jonathan Taylor deal now than when you could have on, after Saquon Barkley's rookie year. Look at what he did in his rookie year and even compare that to where we're at with Jonathan Taylor right now. It's not even comparable. I mean, look at the peak of Christian McCaffrey after his 3rd year compared to now. It's not comparable in terms of an impact in that running back slot. So he's good. The other reason with Jonathan Taylor is if you look at the running back production last year, it was down. Running backs did not have the same impact last year that they have in the past. So great, you had Jonathan Taylor. That's fine. But if you can sell him literally, I mean, we're talking like the value of Jonathan Taylor, you can flip him straight up for one of the top 8, top 10 quarterbacks. Like you may see startups where he goes ahead of any of the rookie quarterbacks that we've talked about. He may go ahead of like the Dak Prescotts or definitely going to go ahead of the Russell Wilsons, probably ahead of the Trey Lances and Justin Fields. So like those type of deals, especially if I can get a running back. I mean, you can look at a depressed valued running back and say, okay, can I get a Justin Fields plus maybe Nick Chubb for Jonathan Taylor? Like that could be a franchise changing trade. So I'm not saying I don't like him, but compared to other RB1s in the past, his value is just as high and his impact on your team is not as high. So
No, I
that's
mean,
my argument. I'm not saying I don't want him, but I'm certainly not saying I need Jamar Chase in a first or Justin Jefferson in a first. There's a lot of other creative pivots, especially if I'm getting a running back that I think could finish in the top 8 or so, because I could see him regressing back to where he's outside the top 3. So there
Christian, I know everyone loves Christian McCaffrey and loves to fall at the altar that is Christian McCaffrey, but he had one full healthy season where he absolutely dominated, and he did. He was like the running back one by like almost 10 points a game, which is just ridiculous. And it was a great one season, but he doesn't have a sustained history of that. Going back to 2018, no one does. Most of the running back ones are within 2 to 3 points of their top 4 running backs. I tend to think that maybe running back scoring is going to dip anyway. And maybe that's more positional than playerall. Playerall? Yeah, that's how you say that.
Yeah.
So I'll blame that more on the usage of the position in the NFL than I am on the player. Now, looking at Christian McCaffrey scoring 29 points a game, 30 points a game, I guess we'll probably never see that again. I really doubt we do. And honestly, last year, though, the only reason Austin Eckler was even keeping pace with or even close to Jonathan Taylor was he had an inordinate amount of touchdowns because he became a goal line back for the first time in his career at the age of 26. So I get what you're saying. So I want to hear Clay offer some trades because I think we're going to be really, really disagreeing here.
What about Saquon and the 103?
No. So wait, you're giving me the 103 and a running back 4. Let's take his name away from it and just put his stats. Let's put what he is. He's a Madden RB4. He's RB4. Like don't attach a name to it. Would you do that?
I probably would still take Taylor, but I think we're getting to the range where, some of the reasons Shane is citing Taylor being so good. Jonathan Taylor had 20 touchdowns last year. So is he going to get 20 touchdowns every year?
Yes.
Now he's getting some benefit by being healthy, right? And durable. Joe Mixon was healthy and durable. Smashed. Had just as many touches as Jonathan Taylor. So I'm sitting here going like, if I can get 80% of Jonathan Taylor's market value and you're just going to throw me Joe Mixon in the deal, that's where I'm starting to think of it's not necessarily the total value, but it's like I can probably beat you because I get a running back that potentially could do exactly what Jonathan Taylor could do in a given year, a given week, a given stretch of 4 games. You're paying me 90% of his market price right there. You're devaluing the older guy that you have. What if I can turn that asset into a 23 first? Then I draft the next Jonathan Taylor, and there might be 3 or 4 shots at the next JT next year. So it's a process part. It's a process trade. So, we're sitting here, and I've tried these deals where I have Taylor. I'm trying to get a 23 first and Javonte Williams, a 23 first and DeAndre Swift. Those are getting declined. So people see right through that type of deal when you're trying to steal back the running back that can be 85, 90% of what Jonathan Taylor is. People see right through that. You got to cross positions to get it done.
I think the only way you're going to be able to deal JT for 2023 first and a running back, it's going to be a running back like Saquon, like Joe Mixon. And Joe Mixon might be closer to that pulling off that trade than Saquon or an Alvin Kamara. I don't think anyone really wants to give up DeAndre Swift in the first, like you said, for him. Because honestly, I wouldn't give up DeAndre Swift in the first for JT because I basically, like you said, I think Swift is one of the few guys that could be a running back, the running back one. There's like 4 of them. I don't even like Najee Harris, but I wouldn't give up Najee Harris in the first for him either. But those back end guys, I'm all on board. Like if I had Saquon and I have a first, I'll definitely trade that to someone. Unfortunately, I don't have Saquon on any of my rosters.
All right. So what if I'm going to give you Tyreek Hill and Josh Jacobs?
No. I'll still take JT.
What if I'm going to give you Antonio Gibson and T. Higgins and the 109?
See, I think you're getting closer there because I could probably get a 23 first for T. Higgins, and Gibson's right on that fringe of, he's not going to be JT, but would you be shocked if he has a 17 and a half, 18 point per game season? I wouldn't. Well, she give me the 109. I think that's a perfect. I don't think you can go after the Swift in a first because the other person's going to sit there, and if they're at all thinking about their process, they're going to go, why would I make that trade? But I think if you do what you said, Clay, and you go after a receiver and then a different asset, I think you have a better shot. That's how you get him, or that's how you make the trade away.
Woo, he pricey. He pricey is what it comes down to. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, if I'm selling JT, there's a few things I'm going to need. I want firsts, I want studs, things like that. If I look in the offer and I've got Jamar Jefferson from Shane from the from the start of the episode there, or if I see Quintez Cephas in the preview, no, you got to come with it, man. It's gonna have to be it's gonna have to be aggressive.
That brings up a good point. Like that, he's definitely not a guy that I won't seeing somebody sending me stuff just to fill the trade calculator. Like, look, dude, I gave you 9 pieces. I gave you 9 players. According to the calculator, this matches up. Like, I will definitely be offended, and that's definitely not what I want to do. If I'm going to break them up, like we've kind of discussed, and like you said, I need firsts, and I need. Obviously, it doesn't need to be a top 4 running back, top 4 wide receiver. But it might be a top 8 wide receiver and a top 8 running back and then a pick. And that's kind of where I see someone like Gibson, Higgins, and, well, that 109.